I have to write my short CV. So I will ask you to present what you have just said. So I will record it down and put it in writing to those who would like to have. I would never put it so neatly as you did.
Sorry about that.
Well, I feel really very excited because we started this conference yesterday evening with Bernard's presentation or speech or vision, and we ended it up with Peter's. So it's like two bookmarks or bookends of a very important and interesting book to read, which is the book about theological education, the real stuff that is going on in our part of the world. Some may not like call it Balkan, I do. I like to be living on the Balkans. It's one of the most exciting areas of the world that I have been living in the last 40 years of my life that I have lived abroad. So this is one of the places that I came back to live again. With Peter, we have a very interesting way of sharing our thoughts. We never write. And because of that, it's very difficult to pass on to us things to reflect upon. So we listen each other carefully. And listening to him and his narrative beginning, I remember when I came back from the States and started my work in Prague, the president of the Board of Trustees was a Swiss lawyer. So one day he came to me and said, "Do you want to come and greet our union?" They had an annual conference of the Baptist Union. I said, "Oh, fantastic, I haven't been in Switzerland, why not going there and greeting the union and then seeing a little bit of Zurich." Well, it turns out to be the conference was far not in Zurich, it was somewhere in the end of in the country in the middle of nowhere, so I didn't see much of Switzerland. But the narrative beginning is this. So I was speaking my sermon to the union, and Peter was supposed to translate. So I'm saying a couple of sentences, 3 sentences, 4 sentences, no translation. Suddenly he said something short and then turns to me and said, "Gone." So I speak and speak. He suddenly starts speaking and speaking and speaking and speaking, and you cannot stop him. And after we had this very strange in and outs of my sermon, I asked him, "Listen, how did you translate so that I spend minutes speaking and you translate in a couple of words? Is it the German specific of the language?" "No," he said, "you have your sermon and I have my sermon." With Peter we will do similar things. He had his sermon, I will have my response. But I will follow his line of thoughts that he has just presented to us. I really like the way how he started. In 1993, when he was busy...
Anybody reminds you, it's 7 minutes.
Yes? This is what I'm having here. I have only 5 minutes left. In 1993, when he was doing this conference in St. Petersburg, I was doing another conference in Louvain-la-Neuve in Belgium in applied mathematics. So in 25 years, God converted Peter from a Petersburg-based theologian to the European and world-based theologian, and me from mathematician to a theologian. So there is a similarity in the line of life. One question that he asked, and it's a very serious question: what is the purpose of having that many schools? Look around. It's dozens of schools are represented only here, not to speak about in the area alone. And he mentioned something that was shocking to me in mid-90s when I left for the States. We had only one school in Bulgaria. In 96, when I came back for the first time, there were about 137 schools in Europe, in the eastern and central part of Europe especially. They were mushrooming. So is there a point of having so many or so different schools? My answer is yes and no. Very wise answer. The yes part is this. We, following character education, spiritual formation, virtue training, identity formation, it is difficult to imagine that there will be no church, large church, or not to speak about denomination, that is not interested in the way how the character of their believers, the identity formation of the members of the community. So to me, Bible schools, bachelor level educational institutions have to be as many as denominations and big churches. Each one of them, the theological education is the business of the church. It's not the business of academia. It's not the business of academic institution. It is the church that teaches theology, and teaches theology exactly on the level as Marvin and I would say is the most efficient, the one that forms characters, the one that emphasizes morality, the one that looks at virtue formation of the people in the line of the vision of the kingdom of God as it is embodied and incarnated in a particular Christian community. But then, as it is clear in our conversations, there are moments in which we disagree, even within our own denomination, strangely enough. So how it happened that we have several churches and they all disagree among themselves? So you have a need of a platform to negotiate this kind of diversity or this kind of opinions that are about important issues of the life of the church, of the theological proficiency of the church. For that you need master level courses, as Peter just pointed out. At the time there was one, then they become more of those master level courses, but there is a platform when diversity of opinions within a larger evangelical community can be negotiated. And finally, this is the master level courses. And finally, there is a need to go deep into the depth of theological learning and training to do doctoral level work. And interestingly, as Peter pointed out, we need to come back again together because it is such a difficult and multifaceted task that we have to all contribute, but from different theological perspectives. So the openness to the diversity has to be there, and the resources has to be shared across, like Katerina is trying to figure out how to build a pool of resources that all of us together will use. So I like this question of Peter, and it's a very profound question. Yes, we do need multiplicity of theological institutions, but at the same time we do need to work together at certain moments for certain theological purposes. Anna Maria, I have only 1 minute left. That's why I will address the issue of what to do in theological education and activities of the theological institutions. How should we go about having all this diversity of theological institutions and educational programs in the Balkan context, in the context of the region that we are living in and the conference is discussing? We discussed that in our meeting with the best part of the conference, the Macedonians, the Albanians, who else? Well, we are enough, and the Bulgarians. So what we found out is that probably for us in the current situation that we are, the Nazarene model of education works very well. Maria, you gave us food for thought, and we are processing it. But if we look carefully what the Nazarene community was able to achieve, a kind of a centralized, academically sound curriculum for the delivery and pretty robust in a sense of assessment. Curriculum of delivery of one and the same program, bachelor or master. And then multiplicity of sites, each one of them with strengths and weaknesses, but following the same pattern of the delivery of the courses. This might be the answer for the institutions that we have, with limited resources sometimes, but strong at least in one thing, otherwise they will not exist. So how to pull together the framework of, okay, Anna Maria, I'm 7 minutes ago, that's it.
I'm just nodding that I agree with you.
Should I keep going? Yes. No, that is enough. But the Nazarene model is a very good one. God bless you.